Good morning. It is Friday, November 21st. It is 8:30 in the morning here in beautiful northern Utah. I have a special guest enjoying a cup of coffee with me today, Mr. Roham himself, CEO and founder of Dapper Labs. Roham, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Morning, everybody. And I'm on my second. I've already had 2-3 cups of coffee, so I'm doing water for now.
Okay, hydrating. Hydration is key. So normally we start the show off with a little feed. We look at the feed. I thought it might be cool to kind of go over the feed for a minute with Roham himself.
One of my favorite parts of the product, by the way.
Mine too. That's why I started a morning show about it, because everyone loves browsing the marketplace and just kind of nerding out. And this just makes it so much more smooth. It's all in one place. One hit. These Cade Cade's Legos are popping. The player birthday page is awesome. Larry Sanders is only 37. That makes me feel old. Okay, we have a 25 stack happening of this KG. Coultin's a believer in the Kevin Garnett archive. I love it. Okay, this is cool. Let's see the most popular players. LeBron was on here forever, and now we've just got rookies. Derek Queen, Con Knipple, and Cedric Coward. Probably top 3 of the top 5 rookies right now. So that's pretty awesome. Looks like Derek Queen just overtook Con. We got some leaderboard stuff happening. And look at that. Most popular sets are all new. I think this is the first day I've seen all 3 of these be this season sets. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. We've got people still completing base set from last year. And how cool is this? When you can just hover over their profile picture and see their pinned moments, give them a follow or DM them. That's huge.
That was a very debated feature, whether how useful that hover feature would be.
Really? That's debated?
It was a little debated, but then I think Yusuf took initiative and just built it, which I think was the right move.
Yeah, I use it all the time. Just congratulating people. I mean, that's the fun of it, right? Like, I'll just DM people all the time and just say, congrats on completing that set. That's awesome. And people obviously reply. They're stoked. Okay, Nizzle loves the Marbury run-it back. The run-it backs are tough. I'm excited this year, Roham. We've got run-it backs coming in season. Like in season, not in the summer.
Yeah, but still with a great approach to scarcity and the right approach to quality control and
yeah.
And people are gonna love it.
Yeah. The Mecca Make It Rain is a regular on the feed. He grabbed the Jokic Top Shot 50. Okay, now how fun is this, man? I hope that you've done this a couple times. You just click it and re-experience their joy with them of the poll. We got a Walt Clayton and a number 1 Desmond Bain fresh threads. That's amazing.
That's a good poll.
Yeah, hell of a poll. Base sets completed for MX Matthew. Dharma Gardner. Man, Dharma Gardner has been grinding on the rookies. 25 of the Colin Murray Boyles. Look at that. I got it done yesterday. 30 out of 30 right there. I love how it shows your stat, where you're at. Oh my goodness. It's like I'm in Las Vegas. 2550. Ooh, the Steph from the top debut. That's one of the best moments on Top Shot.
That's a really good buy.
Check this out. I actually wanted to talk to you about this. Kind of a perfect segue. Steph's debut. So this is S1, obviously. It's 5 years ago, and the moments, the highlights were great. I just want to point out, pretty standard. Like the highlight itself is awesome. The curation, perfect, but it is hilarious when you compare S1 to what we already have. So this is my Walt Clayton, the blockchain parallel, and I am interacting with this thing. I don't think people like a lot of people. I don't think even take the time to do this, but it's even better in app. It's insane. You've got to be pretty freaking impressed with the product team and how fast. I mean, look at that. Look at that compared to just 5 years ago. No shade. That moment's amazing, but the technology, come on.
It's evolving, but I just think we're not even scratching the surface of what will be possible maybe in the next 5 years, right? Especially when you have sort of more immersive devices, like let's say a Vision Pro plus plus or a Meta Glasses plus plus, and then you're interacting with these things in the real world, but they're much more dynamic than any physical object could be. That's when I'll be over the moon. This stuff, I wish we had this on day one. The interactivity and the sort of the 3D object being in your hands rather than the video or the pictures. And then the additional thing is all of this is going to be fully on chain, where fully decentralized, fully in the control of the collectors, which was, in my opinion, the most legitimate criticism physical collectors had of NFTs, which is, hey, it's I can't, if the provider goes away or even if the NBA goes away, do I still have my thing? Which is the case with any physical object. And here for the first time in any licensed IP collectibles, we are sort of guaranteeing that and partner with the NBA to make sure it's built right from the ground up. So I think we're still scratching the surface and we're still building, working hard on making this part of the product the most rock solid experience, as well as the most delightful experience, as well as the most rock solid experience.
Yeah. I mean, you really feel like, I mean, I'll just speak for myself. Like when I am in the marketplace now and I am looking at parallels, and when I buy one, I do feel like I just bought something more significant.
Right.
And I mean, that's all. I mean, you can't really replicate that in cards. And I know, I come from cards. Like Top Shot was my first NFT. It's still the only NFT that I have. But, I find myself trying to explain blockchain technology and why NFTs to people in card shops or at like NBA games all the time. What like, do you have I mean, it's not like it's our job or your job to like sell people on. I mean, if they like it, they like it, right? But like, how do you like quantify, or what excites you the most about the difference? That's a good way to put it. What excites you the most about the difference between digital and physical?
Well, I mean, I do think of it as my job to sell the product and grow the vision here for sure. And yourself as a team ambassador and key key community leader as well. But you know, the history of digital products is that sometimes you don't convince everybody to join. You just convince the new wave of people, usually the younger folks or the ones most sort of tech savvy, to join, and it kind of mushrooms from there. And the people that kind of disregarded it early on are sometimes the last to jump on, like with Instagram and Facebook and all of these sort of things. But in this case in particular, I think digital collecting is just collecting. And in a lot of ways, once you make it an NFT, you sort of have a lot of the same guarantees as physical objects in terms of, hey, it's really my thing. I could sell it at any time. It has real world value, but you don't necessarily need to think of it as a crypto object or as an NFT. It just functions the same way you would expect a physical object to function, but plus. So you have much greater transparency. I think that's super, super important, because in today's environment, when a collectible manufacturer prints infinite varieties of a particular rookie or a new card, and you don't even know where those are. Have they been sold? Have they been pulled? Have they are they being resold? What are they being resold for? All of that sort of market lack of transparency is part of the design of the physical collectibles market, and it works for the physical collectibles market because that kind of creates information asymmetry, which sometimes leads to, you know, higher prices than actually should be the case. But I think over time, transparency leads to a better market for everybody, and when you can tell exactly how many of a given thing are going to be in existence, where they sit, what they've sold for, where they've sold, who they've sold to, and you can kind of track the history of a particular object and all of the objects of that category. So every single Wemby rookie card, you can see exactly where they are, who they're with, what else that person's done with their collection. That transparency piece, I think, is super, super important. And sometimes in the early days of an immature, less mature market, it kind of leads to much more volatility. But over time, I think it leads to more trust in the market, which means more liquidity, more volume, all of the good things that we like. But then the flip side of like transparency is that social nature. Like, we were scrolling through a feed of things that real collectors have done with their collectibles. That's not possible in the physical world. I mean, you can go to a show and you can talk to people about what they've done. You can't be sure they did those things. But here, everyone's profile is actually out there for everyone to see. And to me, the cool part about that is that it becomes part of your identity, and it becomes part of your way of connecting with other people, because you're sort of, you know, that person shares your shares your passion. That's why we added DMs to the site. And if you think about it, feed, DMs, all of these like social reactions, all of these social features, none of them existed a year ago. They barely existed 6 months ago. And so it's a very new part of the product. I mean, overdue for sure. But that's the piece that gets me most excited, because collecting is fundamentally about connecting. That's the reality. We collect to kind of satisfy ourselves, but also to sort of express ourselves, right? Like, I'm passionate about this thing. I'm wearing this jacket because I love this team. And I guess I'm just being a corporate Joan wearing it. The point being is sort of, that's what I get most excited about. And that's not like, of course you have the efficiency, right? You can sell something at any time, at any moment, just drop it into the offer wall, full liquidity for everything. You have the authenticity, no need to grade anything. You know that the if it's on the right smart contract, it's fully original. All of those things are very true. But that transparency and the social kind of dynamics it enables, that's what kind of gets me out of bed in the morning. And for our partners, they think of it as data, right? And they think of it as openness of sort of us as a Dapper Labs not owning the customer, but rather the customer having this like direct link with them, where they can see who their biggest fans are. They can see what people are spending money on. They can go through the feed the same way we do and see a new generation of fans expressing their fandom in a different way. That's what gets them excited. Is sort of the flip side of what I get most excited about.
Yeah. Well said, man. I think, you know, when I'm watching, I know I'm not the only person that does this. We have a million examples of this, but like when I'm watching basketball, everyone has two screens up now, or three or four. Some of us don't want to admit how many screens we have up. But when I'm watching basketball, I'm browsing Top Shot. Like, it's a way for people, collectors, to connect, obviously with friends, yeah, but like you said, like their identity. Like, I love the Jazz, I love NBA, I love the Seattle Mariners, and during baseball season, I'm browsing eBay, like looking at cards during games and sending screenshots to people. And the thing that excites me about the future, I guess, well, there's a lot of things that excite me, but the amount of data, like you were just talking about, that NBA teams, you're already seeing it with NFL all day with the ticket emails that go out to fans that attended certain games. They're getting emails from NFL all day. But, I know for a fact that there are NBA teams that are in talks with Top Shot about different partnerships that could happen, and how valuable the data is, that, like you're just talking about. Like, hey, Ryan Smith, owner of the Jazz, do you want to know who spends the most money on Lauri Markkanen moments? Or, hey, Lauri Markkanen's agent, like, this information's available. You can't get that with cardboard at all. It's a totally different thing. And so, I mean, the future of being able to partner with teams and with, the league and the players, like, the sky's the limit.
100%. I mean, I think you've seen, right? Like, we're trying to get really deeply integrated into into the products that the league themselves is using, and then into the kind of fan experience with the teams. Like, if you have NBA ID, you can go in there and get your first free NBA Top Shot pack. The same way as on Disney Plus, you can go in and get your first Disney Pinnacle packs. And so we're trying to get really deeply integrated into sort of the digital fan experience of our partners, because we want to be where the fans are. And then in addition to that, yes, we want to work with teams directly, but it's really giving them what they should be asking for anyway, right? It's sort of, who are my biggest fans? If someone comes in and goes to every single game in a season, they know that because they're tracking the attendance of games, but they don't know, they can't see in digital engagement, right? They don't know. I mean, they can see sort of followers on Twitter, followers on Instagram, TikTok, but that's about it. And so this is an entirely new dimension. And when you sort of walk them through it, they understand it. But we got to do better in terms of, like, just make sure every single team is looking at the list of their top 1,000 fans on Top Shot, and NFL as well, constantly. And that's the power of digital. That's the power of kind of making this stuff open and social. Because honestly, when I sit down with collectors as well, especially VIP collectors, that's the thing they get most excited about is, hey, I'm such a huge fan of the Jazz, of the Cavs, whatever it might be, and I kind of want them to know it, and I want them to recognize me for it. And so it's a win-win. I think that we just got to do better, kind of pulling it out of the market and putting it aside, sort of the technology. That's not what it's about. It's about the fan experience.
Yeah. When you, I think people also undervalue, and I think you would be obviously much better at explaining this than me, but like the importance of owning a video highlight that is on the blockchain. Like, I think people undervalue what that really means.
Well, I mean, I think, like I said, digital collecting is just collecting, and if you have a card, the most you can have is a photo on it, right? But if you have a digital object, and today it's sort of a 3D object on a 2D screen, but again, kind of technology changes really quickly, and like what I'm imagining is this is like a way for every collector to basically capture that courtside moment and teleport themselves into any moment in NBA history. And so, of course, it has to be video. Of course, it has to be immersive. Of course, it has to have sound and different dynamics that kind of make it make it your own. And then with the autographs and other sort of elements, that's what collectors want. So we're going to bring it into the product and make this the best sports collectible that's ever existed, not just the best digital sports collectible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the NBA has Adam Silver recently said, like, we're a highlight league. Yes. I think those were his exact words, or we're a highlight driven league, or we're a highlight league. And the NBA has the they have the option to control. I mean, I'm not talking about in terms of Top Shot, but like if the NBA wants to tighten their grip on what highlights are where, like they could do that. Who's to say where, like LeBron's block. I'm pretty sure that was hard to watch outside of the NBA website for the first year or so. Obviously, like people post stuff on YouTube, but I mean, as tech gets better, and if the NBA wants to control, who's sharing their highlights and what, like they easily can do that. And I think that's something that is pretty special that I think people kind of miss.
Yeah. Well, I think, for example, the NFL is being pretty active in policing that side of it. Look, my personal opinion is we also want to be the place where the best version of those highlights live. Have best camera angles, the crispest video, and also go back in history, right, and have moments that where the footage might not exist in that quality level. So that's real important to me as well.
Yeah, and the all day stuff has come a long way. Just like Top Shot has. It's pretty amazing. What do you see, like, I don't know if it's kind of a abstract, I don't know how to word it even very well, but like utility in the future, it's like another totally untapped, like that's got to get you excited, like thinking about utility combined with your collectible.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of utilities get you excited? There's obviously kind of the game play that NFL has a bunch of different game modes. NBA has Fast Break, and people love that. But there's the social aspect. There's the rewards in the real world, being recognized by your favorite team, potentially by your favorite athlete as well. But what gets you excited?
Yeah, for me, it's the in real, like the IRL stuff. Like, best example. People think I'm crazy because I'm wearing it, but this is a game worn Larry Markkinen warm up. It's a little big on me. I'm not 7 feet tall, but I'm rocking it because, and to be fair, another jazz collector gifted this to me. But to know that, when I walk around and tell people, like, yeah, this was Larry Markkinen's, they're like, what? How did you get that? And I'm like, well, through NBA Top Shot. And I mean, this is just one little tiny thing that you can gain. And, like I see a future where I think about, I think we're a few years away from this, but like arena, like geo-locked specific moments, or maybe they're not even moments, but like pins, or, at the Salt Lake City All-Star game, there was a basketball, like a backboard, like a JPEG that was, an NFT you could scan on the court, that I still have in my Dapper wallet. Like that kind of stuff for me, like the being able to go to a game and maybe like scan something at the game, and just, the recognition for the collecting, like that's what gets me the most hyped by far.
Yeah, 100%. Have you gotten your Ticketmaster, like the moment of the game, from a Ticketmaster partnership, or not yet?
Not yet. I haven't, but I haven't even been to a game yet. I'm
Yeah,
lacking.
that's the other thing, right? I mean, Adam taught us about this too, which is some people are religious about going to games, but some fans are religious about the game, but without actually going to a lot of arenas. I mean, I know you go all the time, but a lot of fans these days are kind of consuming the NBA through highlights, not just not actually through watching full games.
Yep. We have a lot of ADD, and also like the way that the game is presented on TV. And like, you were just talking about this a minute ago with the VR. Like, I was watching, I forget which game it was. I think it was 2 nights ago on, there's so many streaming services now. I can't remember which one it was, but one of the, during halftime, one of the hosts puts on a damn VR headset right there, like on this, on the halftime show. He puts the VR headset on it and he breaks down this like this play through virtual reality. And I mean, if that doesn't kind of show you where the future, that the future is online and digital, like, I don't know what would.
If you remember the name of the segment, shoot it to me. I'm curious.
I will. I think I think I know it, but I'm not going to start rambling on here. But can you maybe also help me or talk to me a little bit about Flow as a whole? Like, you have, another thing that I will tell people when I'm explaining Top Shot to, because people have no idea how early we are. People are chronically online, and there's a lot of people that have no clue how early we still are, because it doesn't feel early to them because they're so chronically online. But when I go to a card shop and they still don't know what Top Shot is, and that excites me, because as soon as you explain it, most of the time people get it. But when I can tell people, oh no, like, yeah, Dapper, they partner with Disney, they partner with the NBA, with the NFL, like, you got to be pretty excited about that. How do you like explain the Flow ecosystem to people that are like me?
Well, you're at this point an OG, man. But if I'm talking to someone sort of that's just more interested in NBA, maybe Flow is not the first thing you bring up, but it's the second or third thing you bring up. But it is part of the story of, okay, why do you trust this product? And Flow as infrastructure has been around for 5 years. It's processed billion plus transactions. It's processed billions in transaction volume. Has and this year it's been one of the fastest growing networks, even outside of our work with these top tier brands. So as you mentioned, NBA, NFL, Disney, Ticketmaster, Mattel, all of those brands have chosen to build on Flow. But this year it's also been one of the fastest growing networks in terms of developer adoption. It's been one of the fastest growing networks in terms of decentralized finance, TVL, total value locked on the network. Basically 5x throughout this year, and that means people are bringing their money to Flow, and they're looking for earning opportunities on Flow, and more those earning opportunities are from any blockchain. So whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or just stable coins, there's so many opportunities to come and earn. It basically invests your capital and earn, whether it's a small return or take risk and multiply your capital. Out in the sort of financial space that's emerging on Flow. And so Flow we see as just infrastructure for consumer life, for consumer finance. Obviously, digital collectibles are a financial asset at the end of the day. And the key thing about financial assets on blockchains is that you can do other stuff with them too. You can use them as collateral for loans in a way that's hyper smooth and low friction. So right now you can go to floaty.io, FLOW. TY.io, and there's a liquid market where you can take your $500 NBA Top Shot moment or your $10,000 NBA Top Shot moment and take a loan out backed by the moment itself. So almost like a collateral. Well, it is specifically a collateralized loan. So things like that will apply to any financial asset. And we're at a point where, whether people realize it or not, it's the single biggest change in the architecture of the financial markets in our lifetimes and potentially in history, which is every single financial asset is becoming tokenized. And so it's becoming programmable. So developers like us can build software that wraps around all of these stocks and bonds and stable coins and trillions of dollars of assets that are coming onto these networks. And then we can build products on top of them that bring the same opportunities as the biggest financial investors and wealthiest individuals in the world have, but to everybody. And that's the promise of crypto here. It's like doing what the internet did for information, we could do for the financial markets, which have started with these collectible high value assets, but can turn into any kind of financial instrument. And now with the current sort of regulatory adoption, and with banks and BlackRock and everybody sort of sprinting to effectively take what they have today and put it on the blockchain, which they think about it as reducing friction and potentially unlocking some new revenue opportunities. But as a developer, what it means is all of these products just become basically objects that I can program and build software that is hopefully as easy to use as NBA Top Shot, but kind of brings the most advanced and exciting financial opportunities and makes them available to everybody. And that's sort of a new phase of our business, which is also taking even our products like NBA Top Shot and asking, well, how can these add value to their collectors? How can we make sure we have as aligned incentives as possible with our collectors? Rather than trying to make money from you, how do we make money together, and how do we grow the pie rather than sort of treating it as a financial transaction? It's more of a value building and sort of world building exercise. That's the promise of crypto. And I think even since adopting that mindset, this season has been one of our most exciting seasons ever. And we've come out and we've said, hey, we're going to lead with scarcity. We're going to think about the collectors first. We're going to align our incentives with you guys, and we're going to basically build together. And Flow lets us do that because if Top Shot is successful, it adds value to the wider network. It brings more developers, brings more partners. And so like one sort of unit of customer happiness here can turn into $10 out here, rather than us trying to kind of take dollars out of the system on a consistent basis. So that's the long version of how this whole connects together, and it's all because of open infrastructure that anybody can build on, everybody can trust, and nobody can walk off the street and sort of pervert or modify.
Yeah. The question, I don't know if you have like a dream partnership with Flow, but I would be curious what that would be that you don't already have.
Well, that's another thing. We haven't talked about this much externally, but we, over the last few years, because of the regulatory environment around crypto, have been forced to kind of operate Flow and Dapper very separately. And so it's almost been like two sort of estranged siblings in a way. But for the last sort of year or so, 10 months, we've been working very closely with the folks on the Flow team. And we're basically trying to operate as one, trying to add value to our collectors, trying to add value to our token holders, and build these products that are sort of crisscrossing between the power of crypto as well as what consumer life needs to be and what consumer life is evolving to become, which, by the way, includes as much AI as it does crypto, but kind of asks this question of, well, the new generation, or even, probably your listeners, you don't want to spend time on gaming and entertainment in a way that just wastes your time and money. You want to put your passions and your time towards something that you have something left, you're left with something at the end of it, not just wasted time and wasted money. And I think that mindset kind of percolates through everything. And then the other piece of Flow is it lets us go to our partners, NBA, NFL, Disney, etc., and say, hey, how do we make sure that this infrastructure, this sort of crypto technology, helps every aspect of your business and sort of creates that sort of skeleton for the unified fan experience from that first purchase to every single touch point in the rest of your business. So when you show up to an NBA arena or when you go to a Disneyland park, how can we make sure they know who you are based on your collecting activity, based on your, the games you've on Ticketmaster, based on the collectibles that you earned, the quests you've completed. Right now, you can go to, say, Hilton Anaheim, and there's near Disneyland, and there's an actual quest that you can complete with the Disney digital collectibles that earn you prizes, but also that's data, right? And that's basically showing that you have commitment, not just money, and that is very valuable to these brands. And I think that's the future of authenticity. It's your skin in the game, proving that you've done a certain thing, proving that you were first, proving that you were first to care. And so that kind of infrastructure is not just about it's not just about one product, but it's about kind of carrying it through all the rest of the products.
Yeah, I love it. Do you have any, I mean, of course you have goals, but I mean, where would you like to see Top Shot specific? Maybe we'll talk Top Shot, Pinnacle, and All Day kind of in a group here, like in 5 years from now. I mean, we'll stream again in 5 years, and I'll do another funny flashback where we look at a moment from today and a moment then, but not just the moments, but like, where do you see Dapper, these collectibles in 5 years?
Well, look, I mean, I think it's inevitable that all of these, digital and physical life is just merging together and becoming this sort of hybrid thing where you're going to be able to pop open the collectible in your hand as a hologram and have everybody be able to see the same thing you see. Pull it open and be sitting courtside with your friends, living inside that moment from the 80s or from yesterday. So that's like part of the collectible experience, right? Having these things be as tangible in the physical world as they are in the digital world. And of course, in the digital world, they need to go everywhere, from social media to games to whatever it might be. And they're ready for that in the sense that they are Unity objects, which can be compatible with other Unity worlds, and then transfer it into Unreal Engine or whatever kind of it might be. So that's like from a sort of product perspective. And then in terms of like crypto as infrastructure, we think every single social application, every single business application, every single peer-to-peer network will be crypto enabled in the next decade. And what that means for crypto assets like NBA Top Shot and others is that there are these like composable atomic units that can go everywhere. And they can be used as collateral for loans. They can be used as pieces for game pieces for different kinds of experiences. They can be, people will build kind of collectible products that let people bring their whole sort of identity, not just, right now it's like NBA is sitting here, NFL is sitting here, Disney is sitting here. But most of us want to eventually have an identity that crosses them all, brings them all together. That's going to be important. Every single creator will have their own coin and their own collectibles and their own collectible economy, maybe their own prediction markets, their own ways to kind of like generate value for their fans. And every single athlete will have a direct stake in the future of their economies, right? And the new athletes will, I think, understand it better than most, that this is your sort of you're nurturing a community here that's much more meaningful than your followers on Twitter or your followers on TikTok. These are your co-owners. These are people that kind of backed you from the beginning. They believe in you from the beginning. So I think that's really exciting. And like I said earlier, the world we live in today is, everyone needs money, but opportunities to make money are so exclusionary and only available to the people that already have money. And we I think are entering into a sort of phase of the world where it's going to actually be difficult to make money in the normal way that maybe I was raised, right? Make 10% year over year, invest in S&P 500, that kind of go get promoted in your job, etc. And I think that we need to build financial products that are inclusive and bring the same opportunities that are available to the wealthiest individuals to everybody. A bank won't even talk to you if you don't have $100 that you can make them in terms of revenue. But if everything is open, transparent, permissionless on a blockchain, the smart contract doesn't care whether you have $100 or $100 million. It'll offer you the same product, and now it's up to you and your AI agents to figure out, hey, is that the right risk reward for you? And that's obviously a big piece too, right? Where AI agents, as they get smarter and smarter, they're going to help. They're going to help sort of. Maybe it's they bring uniformity, and that's not a good thing, but also they help sort of fill in the gaps of people's understanding, passions, whatever it might be. Hopefully, letting people focus on what they want to focus on, and sort of be able to get access to the kinds of education and advice that they wouldn't otherwise be able to get access to.
Yeah. Do you? I know we're going over on time. We'll wrap up in just a moment. Do you see kind of a more NFL, NBA type question, but we're seeing quicker turnaround. I mean, it seems like the league is, well, I don't even know how to explain it. We're seeing quicker turnaround with moments. It seems like the approval stuff seems to be happening a little bit smoother. Is that accurate? And do you think that will continue to get smoother?
Absolutely. I mean, look, like we went from a world where it would take us days to even be able to talk about something, to we can mint a moment and make it available to collectors within minutes, and then fill in the video, audio, all of these things within hours. Maybe like 24, 48 hours sometimes, but that's getting faster and faster. And I think we want to get to the point where, look, it's a tension, right? Like on the one hand, if things are slower, then that means quality bar can be higher in the sense of, we don't have to mint every single dunk, but we can kind of wait and mint the best dunk. But I think for a lot of things, especially for sort of smaller mint sizes, or even things that are deflationary, like you see a amazing Luka dunk that just happens, you should be able to pop open your NBA Top Shot app, and maybe there's trading going on right then and there to be the first to get the access to that moment. And so that way, incentives are aligned. Collectors want to see us making more editions and making them quickly. So we have the ability to make them quickly, and now it's important to make sure that there's a healthy way. So also people don't feel like they're missing out if they don't tune in. I think there's a lot of, we do one massive drop a month now, which is, I think, lets people sort of build up to it. And then, we sold $1 million of content in 10 minutes. And so it's a very concentrated window, but that kind of brings passion, that brings excitement. It lets collectors sort of see where the chips fall in the secondary market. So I think it's going to be a mix of both. We want to be able to move quick, capture the zeitgeist, but in a way that's aligned with our collectors.
Yeah, I love it. And I appreciate, I speak for everyone. The low mint counts on the rookie debuts and the added sets, there's a few new sets, but the mint counts are still so low. And every rookie, or pretty much every rookie, we're getting an opportunity to burn moments to win that player's cereal, their jersey cereal. And I think, hats off to Top Shot, because I do think that could have been, I mean, that's an example of, kind of scratching each other's backs. Like, I think Top Shot could have easily just done an auction for the jersey cereal, or, put it in chaser packs. But I think you guys doubled down on, we're going to keep mint counts low and we're going to burn. And I thought that burning for their jersey cereal was like a really cool, like, gesture that, like, yeah, we're serious about this. So, thank you for dropping the mint counts, and hopefully we keep them, low. It definitely makes, like, I have 5 Ace Baileys. That's feels a lot more special this year than it would have in past years. So, yeah, I appreciate that. Love the innovation that we're seeing on the site. I know, there's always a few people that are quick to complain and be negative, but the growth that we're seeing on here is super exciting. You know, Steve and Matt and, you know, all the crew, like, they do such a good job with communicating with collectors when they need to, with getting it right. I mean, we haven't even talked about Fast Break, and that's fine, but like, the growth in 5 years has been impressive, man. So for all the shit you get, I would give you a pat on the back if I were there, and tell you, you know, keep up the good work. And I really appreciate you coming on. And let's get John Stockton on Top Shot. I see
Yeah,
him.
absolutely. No, thanks for having me. And look, like, there's we do this for the collectors. We do this for the community. And the thing that feels the best is just seeing people coming back, seeing new users getting started, and actually having a good time. That's what matters. And this season, really hats off to Matt and the whole Top Shot team, because we are seeing that sort of bubbling up of collector sentiment, and old collectors coming back. We've had a huge inflow of dormant users that are coming back, and then also spending time, spending money. And so that shows that they're liking the product. They're not coming back and selling their stuff. They're coming back and buying more stuff. So I think it's bubbling. We're taking a sustainable approach. We're doing things in the right way, one step at a time, and appreciate your support, and keep the feedback coming. So hopefully,
Yeah, man.
it won't be another 5 years before I'm on your show again.
I love that. I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks again. It's Roham, you guys. I'm sure I will see you guys again tomorrow morning, but until next time, thanks again for your time, Roham, and we will see you guys soon.
Hey, have a great morning. Happy Friday, everybody.